Never, and I mean never, do this on a cruise if you want fellow passengers to tolerate you. One careless move can turn your dream trip into a week of dirty looks, whispered complaints, and cold shoulders. Cruises are like floating neighborhoods. With thousands of people packed into the same space, small annoyances become big problems fast. Today, we're counting down 13 cruise behaviors that instantly make other passengers hate you. These aren't vague travel tips. They're real habits that crew members and veteran cruisers say can ruin the vibe for everyone on board. Let's start with the one mistake that gets you side-eye before you even unpack. Picture this. It's 7 a.m. The sun is barely up, and the pool deck is already covered in towels, flip-flops, and random paperbacks marking reserved chairs. But the people who left them there, nowhere in sight. Hours go by, they're at breakfast in their cabin, maybe even off exploring the port, yet their towel still sits there like a silent keep out sign. It's one of the fastest ways to become the most hated passenger on the ship. When you hog a pool chair, you're not just claiming a spot, you're taking away someone else's chance to enjoy one of the ship's most popular areas. On busy days, seating can be scarce, and your empty towel-covered chair becomes a giant billboard saying, "I matter more than everyone else." It creates tension, sparks arguments, and sometimes even pushes crew members into awkward confrontations when they have to remove your stuff. People notice who the chair hogs are, and trust me, they don't forget. You'll catch them giving you side-eye as they walk by, muttering under their breath, and maybe even snapping photos to post in cruise forums later. It's the kind of petty drama you don't want following you around the rest of your vacation. And here's the kicker. Many cruise lines have policies against chair saving, but enforcing them can be hit or miss. That means passengers often take matters into their own hands, moving your belongings or confronting you directly. Either way, it's an awkward scene that can ruin the day for everyone. If you think this is bad, wait until you hear about the next behavior. One that doesn't just annoy people, but can make them openly confront you in the middle of a meal. You're inching forward in the buffet line, eyeing that last tray of golden, crispy shrimp. Everyone's waiting patiently until suddenly someone strolls right up from the side, grabs a plate, and starts piling it high. No excuse me, no mind if I just grab one thing, nothing. Just shameless cutting, as if the line doesn't apply to them. Few things trigger as much instant anger on a cruise as this move. Buffet lines are a fragile ecosystem. Hundreds of hungry passengers, all queued up in an orderly fashion, trying to make the most of limited mealtime windows. The moment one person decides they're above the rules, it throws everything off. People behind you now have to wait longer. Tempers flare. You can actually feel the tension in the air. Stiff shoulders, eye rolls, and muttered comments traveling down the line like a wave. Cutting the buffet line also makes you look entitled and disrespectful, especially to regular cruisers who value order and fairness. Once you pull a stunt like this, word can spread fast. People talk, and on a cruise ship, there's nowhere to hide from your reputation. You may even find people glaring at you in the theater later that night, still remembering you as that buffet cutter. And here's the ugly truth. Some people will confront you right then and there, turning your quick snack grab into a public argument. Others might just quietly resent you, but the damage is done. You've put a sour taste in their mouth before they even take their first bite. If you think cutting in line is bad, the next one happens when you're not even in public, but can still keep your neighbors awake all night. It's 1:30 a.m. The hallway is quiet, the ship is gently rocking, and passengers are finally drifting off to sleep. Then, bang! A cabin door slams shut so hard it echoes down the corridor. A few seconds later, it happens again and again. Welcome to one of the fastest ways to make enemies on a cruise without even seeing their faces. Cruise cabins share thin walls and narrow hallways. Every sound carries, and door slams are like mini sonic booms that jolt people awake instantly. Late at night or early in the morning, it's not just annoying, it's downright disruptive. You're shattering the one thing everyone treasures on vacation: rest. The problem gets worse when it happens repeatedly. Maybe it's a group returning from the nightclub, laughing and slamming doors without a thought, or a family with kids running in and out of their cabin during an early morning excursion. Whatever the reason, it turns your neighbors into light sleeping zombies who start dreading the sound of your door more than the muster drill alarm. People remember this behavior. You might never meet the passengers you wake up, but they'll recognize you when they see you coming down the hall, and not in a good way. On smaller ships, Word can spread about the loud cabin down the hall, and you become the passenger people silently wish had stayed home. If you think this is bad, wait until you hear about the next one. A move that turns a relaxing luxury into your own personal do not enter sign for hours. It's a warm afternoon at sea, and the hot tubs are bubbling away under the sun. You head over, hoping to relax for a bit, only to find every seat taken by the same group of people who've been there all day, drinks in hand, music playing from someone's portable speaker, and absolutely no intention of moving. It's not just inconsiderate, it's the aquatic version of claiming a park bench and daring anyone to sit next to you. Hot tubs on cruise ships are shared spaces, and there are usually only a few available. Staying in one for hours means others never get the chance to enjoy them. This isn't just an inconvenience, it breeds resentment fast. People walk by, see the same faces every time, and start muttering about those people who think they own the place. It gets worse when the monopolizers treat the tub like their private party zone, chatting loudly, leaving empty cups on the edge, or even eating snacks in the water. That turns what should be a shared luxury into something that feels awkward and unwelcoming. For some passengers, the idea of joining in with a group that's clearly camped out is intimidating, so they skip the hot tub altogether. And they don't forget who kept them from it. Crew members rarely intervene unless rules are being broken, so this bad habit often goes unchecked. But it doesn't go unnoticed. People remember faces, and if you're the hot tub hog, you might feel the silent backlash for the rest of the trip. If you think hogging a hot tub is bad, the next behavior doesn't just annoy people, it can make them actively avoid being anywhere near you. You're heading into the buffet, and right at the entrance there's a clear sign, a sink, and sometimes even a smiling crew member reminding passengers to wash their hands. Most people take the 20 seconds to do it, but then there's that person who breezes right past like the rules don't apply. No soap, no rinse, not even a token splash of water. It's a small act that instantly gets noticed and judged. On a cruise ship, hygiene isn't just a personal choice, it's everyone's business. Illness can spread quickly in such a confined space, and skipping the hand-washing station puts the entire ship at risk. Veteran cruisers know about norovirus and other nasty bugs that have ruined entire vacations. When you walk past without washing, you're basically announcing, I'm willing to gamble with your health so I can save 20 seconds. It's not just other passengers you're offending, either. Crew members see it happen all the time, and while they may not confront you directly, they definitely remember who ignores the rules. On some ships, they'll even log non-compliance in their notes, especially during high-alert health periods. That could mean extra eyes on you later, and not in a good way. The social backlash can be subtle but real. People in line behind you may quietly avoid touching the same serving utensils you just used, or they might exchange knowing glances. Once you get labeled as the one who doesn't wash, it's a hard reputation to shake, and you'll feel the unspoken tension every time you enter a dining area. If you think skipping a sink is bad, the next behavior takes it to a whole new level, and it involves treating the very people who make your cruise possible like second-class citizens. They bring your food, clean your cabin, and keep the ship running smoothly. Yet some passengers still act like crew members are there to be ordered around without a shred of respect. You've seen it, snapping fingers to get attention, barking demands without a please or thank you, or treating a small delay like a personal insult. It's the kind of behavior that makes everyone within earshot cringe. On a cruise ship, crew members work long, exhausting hours to keep thousands of people happy. When you treat them like they're beneath you, it doesn't just sour their day, it poisons the atmosphere for those around you. Passengers notice when someone's being rude to the staff, and it leaves a lasting impression. It's the fastest way to be labeled that entitled passenger for the rest of the trip. The ripple effect is huge. Crew members talk to each other, and word spreads fast about who's pleasant and who's a nightmare. While they'll still do their jobs professionally, don't expect any extra effort or small courtesies if you've made yourself known as difficult. And fellow passengers, they might quietly side-eye you every time you walk into the dining room, remembering that time you berated a server over a minor inconvenience. In some cases, repeated rude behavior toward the crew can even get you officially warned, or worse, escorted off the ship at the next port. But even if it doesn't come to that, you'll find that a reputation for arrogance follows you everywhere on board. If you think being rude to the crew is bad, the next mistake doesn't just irritate people, it physically stops them in their tracks. You're on a crowded cruise ship, waiting for an elevator that's already taking forever. Finally, the doors open, But instead of stepping inside, someone plants themselves in the doorway, holding the doors while they wave frantically for their group, who are still nowhere in sight. 30 seconds pass, a minute. The elevator sits there, blocked while everyone inside and outside stews in silence. By the time the stragglers arrive, the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Elevators are one of the most heavily used amenities on a cruise ship, and during peak times, like before dinner or after a show, every second counts. When you hold one for your whole group, you're not just inconveniencing the people waiting on your deck. You're also delaying everyone on every floor that elevator will stop at next. Multiply that by multiple elevators being blocked like this, and you've got a slow-moving, frustrated mob. The unspoken judgment is instant. Passengers give you side-eye, cross their arms, and some may even call you out right there in the moment. The worst part? This kind of stunt gets remembered. You'll pass those same faces in the hallway later, and they'll instantly recall you as the elevator blocker. On ships where passenger interaction is high, your little delay can become part of the gossip loop, and it's never flattering. Elevator holding is the kind of inconsiderate move that feels small in the moment, but on a ship with thousands of people relying on the same limited resources, it leaves a sour taste. And if you think making people wait is bad, wait until you hear about the next behavior, one that can ruin a picture-perfect moment for dozens of passengers at once. The ship's horn sounds, the engines rumble, and everyone rushes to the outer decks to watch the port fade into the distance. It's a magical moment. Unless you can't see it, because a wall of passengers has planted themselves at the railing and refuses to move. Some lean over with cameras, others spread out their arms to hold extra space for friends, and a few even set up tripods like they're shooting a documentary. Meanwhile, everyone behind them is left staring at the backs of heads instead of the open sea. Sail away is one of the highlights of any cruise, and space along the railings is limited. When you monopolize those spots for the entire departure, you're robbing others of their chance to enjoy the view. People don't just get annoyed, they get resentful, especially if you've been there since before the horn blew and clearly have no intention of giving anyone else a turn. It's even worse when railing hoggers spread out, leaning their elbows and bags in ways that block 2 or 3 potential viewing spots. Add loud conversations, shouting to friends across the deck, or constantly taking selfies without considering the crowd, and you've turned a shared experience into your own private stage. Other passengers notice, and they remember. On a cruise where you keep seeing the same faces, your me-first behavior will follow you. People might mutter about you at dinner, avoid you in other public spaces, or give you pointed looks every time you pass. If hogging a view annoys people this much, the next habit is even worse. It involves holding up something passengers actually need during their trip. You finally find time to do laundry on your cruise, a rare moment when the laundry room isn't packed. But when you get there, every washer and dryer is full and has been for hours. Clothes just sitting there, long finished, while their owner is nowhere in sight. Maybe they've gone to lunch, maybe they're at the pool, or maybe they simply forgot. Either way, they're holding an entire room hostage. Laundry machines are limited on most ships, and during sea days, demand is high. When someone leaves their clothes in a machine long after the cycle ends, it creates a bottleneck that frustrates everyone. Passengers end up pacing the room, checking back every few minutes, or in some cases, reluctantly moving someone else's laundry just to get a turn, which almost always leads to tension. This kind of behavior quickly gets you labeled as inconsiderate. People remember who hogged the machines, especially if they had to touch your damp clothes to free up space. And the worst part? If you do it more than once, you can guarantee whispers about that laundry hog will make their way through the decks. On small ships or longer cruises, reputations spread even faster, and your name might come up before you even meet the people talking about you. Sometimes crew members will step in if the delay is excessive, but most of the time, it's other passengers who deal with it. And they don't forget, on a cruise, shared amenities are a precious resource, and taking them over without regard for others will make you one of the most disliked people on board. If you think laundry hogging is bad, the next one is quieter but far more infuriating, especially for those seeking peace on their vacation. You head to the adult-only pool or lounge, expecting a quiet escape from the bustling family areas. The sun is warm, the atmosphere is calm, until a group bursts in, talking at full volume, laughing over music from a portable speaker, and turning the serene vibe into something closer to a pool party. Within minutes, the space meant for relaxation feels chaotic, and the peaceful atmosphere is gone. Adult-only areas exist for a reason. They give passengers a chance to unwind without noise, splashing, or constant activity. When someone treats these spaces like their personal entertainment zone, it's not just inconsiderate, it's the ultimate mood killer for everyone around. People come here to read, nap, or simply enjoy the sound of the ocean, not to overhear a stranger's entire life story shouted across a deck chair. The social fallout is immediate. Other passengers exchange looks, shake their heads, and sometimes even move to another spot, silently blaming you for driving them away. On ships with limited adult-only seating, this can quickly turn into resentment that lasts the entire trip. You might not even realize it, but every time you re-enter that space afterward, people will remember you as the loud one. In some cases, crew members will remind guests to keep noise down. But even if they do, the damage is already done. Once the tranquility is broken, it's hard to get it back. And on a cruise, where relaxation is priceless, disrupting it is one of the quickest ways to earn the dislike of a lot of people at once. If you think breaking the peace is bad, the next behavior doesn't just ruin a vibe. It physically blocks people from moving at all. You're walking down a narrow cruise ship hallway, maybe on your way to dinner or rushing to a show, when suddenly you have to stop. Right in front of you, a large group has formed a wall across the corridor, posing for a picture. Luggage is in the way, kids are darting around, and the self-appointed photographer is backing up into other passengers to get the perfect shot. For everyone trying to pass, it's an instant traffic jam. Cruise hallways are designed for movement, not photo sessions. They're often narrow, especially near cabin areas or service corridors, and blocking them even for a minute creates frustration fast. People end up awkwardly standing and waiting, or squeezing uncomfortably past, which can be impossible if crew members are pushing service carts. What's worse is when the photo session drags on, with multiple poses, retakes, and a complete lack of awareness about the line of people stuck behind. This kind of behavior reads as oblivious and self-centered. Even if you're not intentionally being rude, it tells everyone around you that your vacation memories matter more than their time. Passengers remember these moments, especially if they were late to something because of it. You might overhear complaints or notice people rolling their eyes when they see you again in another public space. On a ship with thousands of people sharing tight quarters, blocking a main passageway isn't just inconvenient. It can be a safety hazard during peak times or emergencies. And while you might get your perfect hallway photo, you'll also get a silent reputation as someone who doesn't think about others. If hallway gridlock annoys you, the next behavior takes it a step further by leaving a mess that everyone else has to deal with. You're walking to grab a coffee, and there it is. An empty cup left on a table, a plate of half-eaten food abandoned on a lounge chair, or a crumpled napkin blowing across the deck. Sometimes it's worse. Sticky drink cans on the floor, popcorn scattered in the theater, or discarded straws clogging a poolside drain. On a cruise ship, this isn't just ugly. It's one of the fastest ways to make fellow passengers dislike you. Public spaces on a ship are shared by thousands of people, and leaving your mess behind sends a clear message. Someone else can clean up after me. Sure, the crew is there to maintain the ship, but they're not your personal cleanup service for every casual snack or drink. The moment someone sees you walk away from your trash without even glancing for a bin, they're judging you and probably mentioning it to whoever they're with. The impact goes beyond annoyance. Trash left lying around can attract pests, create slip hazards, and ruin the atmosphere for everyone. Imagine trying to relax on the pool deck while someone's sticky drink ring is drying into the table beside you, or finding food scraps floating near your lounge chair. It's not just gross, it makes the entire space feel less enjoyable. And here's the thing, cruise passengers have long memories. If someone catches you leaving garbage behind, they'll remember your face. You might hear them mutter about it later in the buffet line, or see them shake their head when you pass by. In a closed environment like a ship, reputations spread quickly, and the one who leaves trash isn't a title you want. If leaving a mess annoys people this much, the final behavior on our list takes chaos to another level, especially when the ship is trying to dock. The ship has just docked at a stunning new port. The announcement comes over the speakers. Passengers may now disembark. Within minutes, the stairwells and gangways are packed, and right in the middle of it all is a group of passengers pushing, weaving, and cutting ahead, shoving past people, blocking the flow, and acting like they're the only ones with somewhere important to be. Disembarkation is already one of the most hectic parts of a cruise. Everyone's excited to explore, but there's a process to keep things safe and efficient. When you treat the gangway like a personal racetrack, you're not just being rude, you're creating dangerous bottlenecks where people can trip, fall, or get separated from their companions. Crew members have to step in to keep order, which slows things down even more for everyone else. This kind of behavior doesn't go unnoticed. Passengers who have been waiting patiently in line are suddenly stuck behind an impatient surge, and frustration spreads fast. People remember faces in these moments, and on a cruise, where you'll inevitably cross paths again in the dining room, theater, or pool, that bad impression will stick. It's even worse when the pushy disembarkers shout instructions to their group, wave people forward, or physically nudge past others. It's a guaranteed way to get muttered comments, angry looks, and maybe even a direct confrontation right there on the gangway. And once you've been pegged as one of those passengers, the rest of your trip will feel a little colder. On a cruise, how you act in crowded, high-pressure moments says a lot about you. And nothing says selfish louder than trying to shove your way off the ship before everyone else. And there you have it, 13 cruise ship behaviors that will make other passengers instantly dislike you. Which one have you seen the most on your trips? Drop it in the comments and let's see which habits drive people the craziest. If you made it all the way to the end, type smooth sailing so I know you're part of the crew that gets it. And if you want to make sure your next trip is drama-free, click here to watch my video on cruise scams the crew will never warn you about. Until next time, enjoy your vacation. And whatever you do, don't become that passenger.